Tiger fans, what's going on? So, happy first week of NFL Sunday to you guys. The season started on Thursday. We had the Bucks and Cowboys. Awesome game to start out the NFL season. Didn't disappoint. I hope all you guys are doing good in your fantasy teams. I am. I'm going to start the year out 1-0. I'm chasing right now in the MLB playoffs. If I get bounced in the first round, you guys just got to give me a bunch of shit because I finished my team 19-2 for the season. I absolutely murdered my league, but I'm losing right now in the playoffs. And if I get bounced first round after going 19-2, that's pretty pathetic. Not as pathetic, though, as the Packers showing today. As you guys all know, I used to do football videos on here a little bit. Packers got absolutely murdered today. Didn't even score a single touchdown. The Bucks not the Bucks. The Saints just dismantled them. One of the worst games I've ever watched Aaron Rodgers play as a quarterback. It's only the third time I can ever remember where he's had consecutive interceptions on consecutive drives. I know he did that for a fact last year against the Bucks when he threw a pick six, and I know he did it against the Bears one time too. I think it was a Monday Night Football game or a Sunday Night Football game. It was an absolute pathetic showing, and I'm not happy with it. I'm hoping Week 2 is a lot better. I know Jared Goff had his debut today. Hope Lions fans are happy with not having Matt Stafford. He had a good first week. Lions made that a close game at the end. They played really bad defense against the 49ers this game. If they had played a little bit better defense, the Lions had a chance to squeak that game out 1-0. But per Lions norm, they thank God I'm a Lions fan. They are 0-1 to start the year. So this week, I didn't think there was really too much to talk about in Tigers baseball, but my younger brother pushed me to do this, and he gave me some topics that he said, dude, you got to make a video. There's stuff to talk about. So it was a weird week. Now, the Tigers, for some reason, have had a hard time playing against teams strong, like playing against bad teams really well. Like, they swept the Orioles. Last time I put the Orioles was like someone who's of the Pirates caliber. But this week, going against the Pirates, I thought that for sure they could take 2 or 3 or at least sweep. The game started out, game 1 of the series. Dan Dickerson was on the radio talking about how the Pirates have absolutely no power and they're always games that are 500 and there's just not many things to do well. Well, what does Calvin Newman do? My man hits a freaking 2-run shot to start the game. The Tigers end up losing this game 3-6. They tied it. They actually took the lead in this game, but then the bullpen choked it late. Ended up giving up 4 runs in the 7th. And the Tigers lose this game 6-3. And I was disappointed because they had come back after a shaky start. And the Tigers lose this game. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe they'll get it tomorrow. Well, the second game of the series, they lose 2-3. Pirates come out and score another quick early one. That was weird. They struck really fast, really quick for the first 2 games. Tigers scored 2 runs in the third. And then the Pirates scored 2 runs in the 6th, and that was pretty much it. It was a pretty well pitched ball game by both sides. The Pirates just got big hits when they needed it. Now this game started something special. Miguel Cabrera this series has looked absolutely great. He ended up finishing this series going 7 for 7. The Tigers ended up scraping a ball game out of this. They took the third game 5-1. Miguel Cabrera started that streak the second game. Going 7 for 7. Drew Hutchinson got his first win. Matt Manning this game got hit on a line drive on the knee. His x-rays were negative, so they're going to see if he's going to make his next start or they're going to scratch him. And speaking of injured starters, Matt Boyd is hurt again, and his season's over with. There's a chance he could have Tommy John. So not only is he going to be a free agent, he could have Tommy John and be gone, and he's going to have to maybe sign a minor league deal somewhere. Maybe the Tigers bring him back after his Tommy John surgery. He just wants somewhere where he's familiar with an organization, and the Tigers give him a pillow contract. Me personally, I think this is it. This is the end of the Matt Boyd show. He hasn't been anything good since 2019. He has not been able to stay healthy. We'd already just went through something like this with Jordan Zimmerman. They finally got rid of his contract. I understand he'd probably be really cheap, but with how Tyler Alexander's been pitching, he pitched a gem the other day, and he's pitched a lot of gems. You go look at his last 5 games started, he's had a lot of big starts. He's had that one start where he pitched into the 7th inning. And then he's had a bunch of starts where he's gone at least 4 for out of the bullpen for Hinch as that swingman kind of guy. He has earned this spot in the rotation at least for the rest of the year. And even if if Matt Manning's hurt or whatnot, they could bump Urena back in there, and they have Drew Hutchinson that they could bump back in there, for the last couple weeks of the season. But it's Tyler Alexander's spot, and it's his time in the rotation, at least for the rest of the year, because he's pitched great, and he's been very understated about how good he's been for the Tigers. So Miguel Cabrera, I want to talk about him for a second. He has looked so good. And my videos at the start of the year and the last time I was consistent making videos, I kept talking about the lack of bat speed Miguel Cabrera's had. But if you've been looking at him since, like, I think it was May 8th or May 7th, he's been hitting over 300. So he's on like a 70, 80 game tear right now where he's been super consistent. Now, the slugging isn't there if you look at his slugging, and his OPS plus is only slightly above average. But the consistencies of his at-bats, you're not seeing him lay down fastballs. So really, over the last 80 games, he's been pretty much on it. Like, if you look at Miguel Cabrera, he's got 3 types of swings. So he's got the one swing where he's doing like the tank job, right field, absolute crushed moonshot. Something he doesn't do too much anymore because since he doesn't really have the power that he used to have, everything right now Miguel Cabrera has been hitting. I'm sure if you looked at his spray chart, the right side of the diamond, the right side of the field is going to be like absolutely blood red. Same with dead up the middle. And the left side of the field isn't going to have much at all. So if you look at like his swing with Jack Flaherty, where he hit that ball over the Big Mac sign, it was a classic Miggy swing, full load, absolutely gets his whole weight of the ball, meets the ball out in front, crushes it left field. Then he's got that swing where he kind of partial strides, foot up, down real quick. And that's a swing where you see him get like that ball, he just tries to flick it over into the right field stands or go right center and middle of the diamond. Then you see the other kind of swing of his where he doesn't stride at all. He's just trying to meet the baseball and just trying to pitch it trying to hit it where it was pitched. And you've been seeing that a lot this year, especially over this last stretch of games where he's had a lot of success, because Miguel Cabrera, going into the Rays series, my dude went 9 for 9 before he finally got out. And that's insane. And if you look, I think the Tigers got 24 or 25 games left. He only needs 24 hits. And that means he need a hit a game. So he really can't slump if he's going to try to get 3,000. I didn't think he had a chance. I thought he was going to finish 11 or 12 games, not 11 or 12 games, but 11 or 12 hits short coming into the end of the month. And he'd just for sure get it next year at the start of the season. But he has a legit chance because he's been racking up them hits really, really quick. That 9 for 9 really boosted him up. And he had a couple more hits over the Rays series, a couple big hits. But it's just been so impressive because Miggy was getting beat on fastballs up really, really bad over the last couple of years. Now you see teams trying to pitch him fastballs up. He's not taking much of a stride. He's up, down, and that ball is either right center or right up the middle. Lots and lots of hits up the middle and right center, meaning his timing is right on time. You hit a ball dead back up the middle, that means you're meeting the ball exactly perfect time if you're going dead up the middle. And he's just getting the foot up, getting the foot down, really good hands, quick hand speed, and he's just hitting it right back up the middle and to right center. He's not getting beat too much on that ball up. And then the guys try to get him with breaking balls away. It's not working. You throw him curveballs and sliders on the outside of the plate, he loves it. That's that pitch he just leans out and pops it right field every single time. There was guys, if you've watched guys with good sliders, good curveballs against Miguel Cabrera, try to get him out pitches away, that dude is just a magician. It's like watching Placido Polanco, who is one of my favorite hitters to ever watch as a Tiger. That dude could hit that right field gap. You put a hit and run on with him, that guy hit the right field gap where the second baseman would trying to go cover second on a hit and run. He would hit that spot all the time. And Miguel Cabrera, guys just trying to spin him drunk away. He's just flicking that bat out there on his front foot a little bit, just trying to get out in front of it and meet it right at the point of contact and just flicking it. And it's like watching vintage Miguel Cabrera. I haven't watched him. We haven't saw him hit like this really since 2016. Now, like I said, the slugging's not great and the power's not there, but just the consistency from at bat to at bat, and him not getting beat on fastballs anymore, and him taking the pitches where they're thrown and just hitting them and just coming up with big hit after big hit. He's hitting over 300 runners in scoring position. He's come up with a bunch of big hits. He's looked really good this year. And the Tigers lineup as a whole over the last couple of weeks, we got a couple of guys now with over 20 home runs. So the power's starting to come back. Victor Reyes in this first, so we'll move on to the Rays series after the Tigers took the last game and managed to not get swept, which I couldn't believe they almost got swept. So this first game of the Rays series was great. Miguel Cabrera gets 2 more hits, finishes the streak at 9 consecutive hits. Well, the at-bat of the game belongs to Jonathan Scope. Jonathan Scope comes up, he thinks he got hit by a pitch. AJ Hinch challenges it because the tying run was at third. What happens? Next pitch, little hanging slider. He tank jobs it into the bullpens. absolute low-hanging slider. And this is Scope's second home run in a week, which is good because he went almost a month without a homer, and he only hit 3 over the last month and a half. So I have 2 in a week, and that gives him over 20. Grossman's over 20. Haas is over 20. Jamer Candelario, his power stroke has been there. He might finish close to 20. Miguel Cabrera's going to finish close to 20. So it's really good to see the consistency of the power distributed throughout this whole lineup. So Scope hits a grand slam. And then what happens? Victor Reyes comes up and hits a 429-foot 3-run homer, moonshot, to really seal this game. And I was sitting there with my jaw on the ground because, you guys, I said last week in my video, I'd be extremely surprised if the Tigers managed to take even one game in this series. No, they ended up taking 2 or 3, and my jaw was on the floor. I couldn't believe it. I was hyped. Absolute tank shot. So Tigers end up taking this game. Miguel Cabrera goes 9 for 9, finally gets out. Scope hits a grand slam. Victor Reyes, 3-run shot. Awesome game to watch. Then the second game. Well, that one didn't go so great. The Tigers' bats went really, really cold. Chris Archer absolutely dominated the Tigers. Miguel Cabrera had an RBI hit this game. That was the only Tigers run until Robbie Grossman hit a home run in the 9th. Tigers ended up losing this game 7-2, and it wasn't the best game to watch. Chris Archer just dominated the lineup, and yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen the whole series. So then we get to today's game. Jamer Candelario goes off this game. It's 2 home runs. Miguel Cabrera comes up in the 8th inning, bases loaded, hits a bases-clearing double. Derek Hill scores a tying run. Then we get into the Rays ended up dropping a couple of runs in the top of the 10th, and the Tigers were down 7-5. What happens? Jamer comes up clutch, super clutch. Oh, and before I go too much further, Tarek Skubal, my dude, goes 3 absolutely dominating innings. This kid, like I said last week about my innings limit, I understand why they're doing it. I'm not happy that they're doing it, but I understand why they're doing it because we've seen what Mize has done over this last couple starts, and you just want to see more. You're seeing how these 2 guys, they're just finishing the season strong, just coming out and absolutely dominating. Mize goes out against the Reds, perfect, 3 innings, 9 up, 9 down, and then Skubal comes out, strikes out, I think, 6. Just super, super quick. He looked absolutely phenomenal. Here's his exact numbers. Struck out 6, 1 walk, 1 hit, 3 innings pitched. Looked absolutely great. Michael Fulmer comes out. Jose Urania gives up a home run to Nelson Cruz in this game. That was his only blemish. For some reason, Urania is been effectively wild coming out of the bullpen. I don't get it. I still don't like him. I don't think he's that good of a pitcher, and there might be a chance he might start if Matt Manning's hurt, or him or Drew Hutchinson. But he's been okay as that swingman following either Skubal or Mize so far. It's just watching him is so nerve-wracking because he doesn't strike anyone out, and he's really erratic and walks a lot of guys. But Candelario comes out in the top of the 10th, or bottom of the 10th, 2 outs, hit 1 on, hits a tank job home run, and the Tigers ended up tying this game. So we go to the 9th inning, and this is where it all unravels for Tampa. Couple of walks by Kittredge, and Jonathan Scope comes up with the bases loaded. And thank God Jonathan Scope's slow ass was able to freaking run it out because he hit a ball right to shortstop, and they threw home. And I thought for sure they were going to get a 2-3, or what would that have been? That would have been a 6-2-3 double play. I thought for sure they were going to get it, but he was able to beat it out because the ball was hit kind of slow. And then Robbie Grossman comes up, and Robbie Grossman, everyone knows his at-bats and his plate discipline this year. He's drawn so many walks. He comes up, first pitch strike, and all of a sudden, like, oh, shit. Oh, no, it was a first pitch ball, second pitch strike, ball, 3-1. I'm thinking, okay, so what do you do here if you are Robbie Grossman? Do you take what home run? So it's number 14 for Candelario, so I was trying to look up. You got to take this pitch 3-1 because he's walked 32 guys in the innings. The bases are loaded. You just need a run to win. Do you take a pitch or do you swing because you think it's going to be right down the middle? But I'm thinking, no, there's just no way Robbie Grossman's going to swing. He's too disciplined. He's a good 2-strike hitter. There's no way he's going to swing. But he's for sure getting a fastball. And for sure got a fastball low and in. Catcher tried to frame it. He did a bad job. It wasn't a real good pitch to frame either, and he walked it. And the Tigers ended up taking 2 of 3 from Tampa Bay. Now, in the grand scheme of things of how the AL East is and whatnot, it doesn't really matter because the Rays are still up pretty big. Let's see, they're up 9 games. They're up 9 games on Toronto. So for them to lose 2 or 3 to the Tigers doesn't mean shit because the AL East has just been a weird division this year. Yankees win 13 straight and then drop 10 of 12. And they got jumped by by Toronto. And then the Red Sox completely fell out of it. So right now, the Tampa is they're just waiting for the postseason right now. So it doesn't really matter that they lost these games. But what a series it was for the Tigers to take 2 or 3. It sucks that, they lost 2 or 3 to the Pirates because how bad the Pirates was. But this team, it was just so. It's been so good to see the power come back. It's been so fun to watch Miguel Cabrera actually be somewhat of Miguel Cabrera this year versus just seeing him be just so overmatched at the plate and having nothing there, because Miguel Cabrera takes a lot of pride in his batting average and all the batting titles that he's won. And he doesn't want to be a guy that just strikes out 200 times a year, and he said this, that he'd sacrifice the powers for hits. And he has. But he's been able to go tank job, quite a few times this season, more than I thought he would. And the fact he's so close to 3,000 already is cool, and I hope he gets it. I mean, to hit 500 and 3,000 the same season, that's awesome. That's really about it this week, besides Matt Boyd being done. I think Harold Castro, my brother and I were talking about this, I think Jamer has got to get extended because he's just been so consistent over this year. And he's looked so good, and he's taken so much strides over the last 2 seasons to show he could be an everyday contributor. And I think there's more power in his bat than what he shows. I think there's more than 14 home runs there because he's leading the AL in doubles. And it's kind of like if you look at Manny Machado, young Manny Machado early in his career, he had one season where he had like almost 60 doubles. And I'm like, man, this kid is going to hit a lot of home runs one year because most of those doubles, they turn into home runs. Because if you're hitting that many doubles, that means you're hitting the gaps super consistently. You're taking good swings to get that. And plus, Jamer's got good speed, as did Manny Machado. And I see that in Jamer. Leading the league and leading the AL in doubles, is having many doubles as he has, there's more power in there. Because for you to hit the gaps like that as much as he's been doing it and be able to lead the league, there's more power in that bat than 14 home runs for sure. So with the season he's had with the glove, he's just been Mr. Consistent over there. He doesn't make many errors. He's always in the right spot, good arm. And just as consistent he's been, I honestly think out of everyone in the Tigers lineup, you can sing Badu's praise of how good he's been if someone who's never played above A ball, and how what a staple Grossman's been at the top of the lineup, and how good Scope's been as a leader and a guy that was basically the Tigers jumped on his back for a month and a half when he went crazy power-wise. And just to see how Miguel Cabrera's been over the last 80 games and just looking, being clutch hit after clutch hit and just hitting as well as he has, as consistent he has. But honestly, if you look from the start of the first pitch of the season till how many games we got left, it's been Jeimer Candelario who's been the best overall hitter for the Tigers. And I don't think it's even a close question. You got leading the AL in doubles. So that's a thing in all its own. On top of how good his defense has been, on top of he really hasn't slumped for a prolonged period of time, and now over the last 2 weeks, how hot he's been extremely good. And I honestly think what's going to happen, the Tigers are going to extend him. They should extend him. Now, the thing is the Tigers are running up on a bit of a cluster because they have a lot of outfielders between Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson, Ryan Kreidler, all those guys knocking on the door of the big leagues. But they have a lot of bench guys in depth they need to figure out what they're going to do with. You have Harold Castro, Willie Castro. Derek Hill has now become almost an everyday regular. You still got Daz Cameron, who played good defense and had some big hits this year. He got sent back down because he has his struggles. And then what do you do with Zach Short? I know he hasn't been a good hitter, but he's shown pop and he's shown really good ability with the glove. Honestly, the best defensive shortstop we have out of the whole group. And then how good Harold Castro's been over the last almost 3 weeks. He's played a really good short, a really good second, wherever you put him. He's a really good defender, really good arm. And then you got Nico Goodrum. What are you going to do with him? Because right now the Tigers just have so many guys. If you look at, like, Riley Green hit another home run today. I think he's got like 4 or 5 home runs in the in AAA since he's been up. He's hitting over 300. And Spencer Torkelson's average doesn't look good, but he's slugging like 545 over his last 7 games down there, and he's got a couple of bombs down there. And Ryan Kreidler's been the best out of the 3. And Ryan Kreidler was one of the guys that are like, who's come up, who hasn't been that guy that's known for his bat. He's been known for his glove. And for him to have more home runs than Torkelson and Green, and he's hitting extremely well down there. The Tigers are going to have some really tough decisions to make this offseason because they have so many players that have been either everyday contributors or have done really good off the bench. Now, what do? Do you keep letting these guys like Harold and Willie come and get a rotation as a platoon, and you keep platooning second and short? Or, what do you do if Kreidler keeps knocking on the door like he's doing? And Riley Green, he's going to force his way into that outfield next year. He has not slowed down at any single level the Tigers have put him at. He has destroyed every single place he's been. And look at Spencer Torkelson. He was in A-ball this year, and he's already made it up to AAA in his first full season. And he's going to make a push. And the Tigers got to think, what are they going to do? Because if they re-sign Candelario and they have this fallacy of Torkelson being a third baseman, and he hasn't played a whole bunch of third in the minors, what are they going to do? And it's not like a Nick Castellanos situation where they could put him in the outfield because they have a lot of outfielders. You got Derek Hill, Daz Cameron, Robbie Grossman, Victor Reyes. Now, and what about Riley Green when he starts knocking on the door? They got a lot of players and a lot of positions they got to make a thing. Do they let these guys, with the way they played this year, which has been really good since their horrible start, what do they do? Because if you sign Jamer and Torque is ready next year to go, so I think the Tigers are going to sign a shortstop. They have to sign a shortstop. But here's the conundrum they're in. If you sign Jamer and you get a shortstop, that means Scope is going to have to, and Jamer, so you sign Jamer, you get a shortstop, that means Torkelson's going to have to go to first. Because that's just where he's played his whole college career. Jamer's a way better third baseman than Torkelson. That means Scope's going to have to go to second. So that potentially means if they get a free agent shortstop, they got Scope at second, Jamer at third, Torque at first. What in the hell do you do with Willie Castro and Harold Castro and Nico Goodrum? 2 of those 3 guys are going to have to go because you don't need all these bats, all these utility players. You only need 1 or 2. And I think the odd man's out at Willie Castro because Willie Castro just doesn't hit enough. He's only marginal with the glove. And I don't think he's that good of a shortstop, and he's only a second baseman. And I think Nico Goodrum, he's played himself out of a job. He can't stay healthy. He hasn't really done nothing since 2019. He's great. He's got so much defensive versatility because you can put him in the outfield and the infield. But he really hasn't been that good at short this year, really in the last year and a half after being a Gold Glove finalist. But I don't really take too much consideration with that because he can't make a throw from shortstop. That dude has so many throwing errors. Prove me wrong. He's not a good defensive shortstop. I don't care if he was the Gold Glove finalist. So I don't care. I know he's got defensive versatility, but I think it's honestly like Harold Castro. And then Harold Castro's played really well. Like, he's hit pretty good, and he's a really good defense. He's played a good shortstop. He's a good defensive second baseman too. And you're going to make this guy a bench platoon bat? If he's hitting like he's hitting like so far this month, going into the last of the season, it's going to be really, really interesting because then you got to look at the outfield. What do you do with Derek Hill if Riley Green comes up there? You got Robbie Grossman for 1 more year. Victor Reyes, I could see him being the odd man out, but he's had a decent amount of enough hits and enough contributions to maybe think about a spot. But if you bring up Green, you're not going to want him as a 4th bat. He's a young dude. You need to get him up and get him some ABs. So what are you going to do there? Does that mean the Daz Cameron experience is over? Does that mean that they're going to get rid of Hill while he's actually shown some ability to not get hurt and make really good? He's been a great defensive center fielder. Shown abilities to be a really good defensive center fielder, and he's hit a little bit. My guy's got a couple of homers. So I don't know. the upcoming year next year is going to be really, really crazy because and then what do you do with Ryan Kreidler? Because if you re-sign Jamer, and then you got Scope at second, and Torque ends up forcing his way up there, and you got a shortstop you sign in free agency, what do you do with Ryan Kreidler? My dude's hitting really well. He's, like I said, out of Green and Torkelson, he's hit the best of the three. So the Tigers, they're faced with a very, very good problem. They have a lot of talent with not enough positions. And I think this is the year that they could leverage some of their prospect capital and take some of these guys that they don't have places for and go out and get upgrades, either in their bullpen, which has been very good. This has been the first year that we could honestly say as Tiger fans, we got some guys back there that make it erratic. Cisnero and Soto walk a lot of guys, but they're dudes that get the jobs done, I'd say 7 out of 10 times. It's like watching Jose Valverde. Like a 2011 year, he was 50 for 50. Or including the postseason, but he got every save done. He needed a little bit of help. He should have blew a couple of them. You can watch this game with Austin Jackson when he threw out, I think it was Sin-Soo Choo at home plate against the Indians. He should have blew a save there. But this bullpen, what they've built so far with Michael Fulmer, Kyle Funkhauser, and Gregory Soto and Jose Cisnero, they've got a really good monster. And they got some other guys that can get outs, in lesser situations. Alex Lang's done an okay job so far. Brian Garcia's been up and down, but, he's had an okay appearance today. And Derek Holland's been able to get a couple outs here and there. So they've done a really good job piecing it together. So they have so much talent and a lot of positional depth and a lot of young guys that they're almost like in a shit or get off the pot situation to where it's like, we have all this depth and all this talent. We could finally start trading away some of this capital because we have so many pieces. So I don't know, because if you re-sign Jamer, and I really want them to, it just messes up everything, potentially everything for how it's going to go. Because if you don't re-sign Jamer, you get a shortstop. And I think they're going to for sure go out and get a shortstop. You could put Torkelson at third, and then potentially Ryan Kreidler at second or short. I think they'll probably put him at short because everyone's talking about how good his glove is. And, then it doesn't, the log jams kind of lifted up a little bit. But another thing to look at, and I'm going to wrap this up soon because I could talk about this for 40 minutes. They've already started the clock on the three-headed monster of Manning, Mize, and Skubal. So do you really want to wait, see if Green, Torkelson, Ryan Kreidler, all the real deal? These guys coming up, you start say all three of them make their major leagues debuts next year, which is not feasible. I mean, Manning and Skubal and Mize made their debut at the same time. And so far, these three dudes, you've seen how quick they come up the system. And I think Riley Green's going to be the first one to make it out of all of them because I think he's the best of the three. And I've been saying it this whole time. He's going to be a superstar stud outfielder. And I will live on that hill and I will die on that hill. Riley Green will be the best of those three. That dude has got superior talent, amazingly good defender, good arm, speed, pop. He is a 5-tool player. If you had to put a gun to my head, not even a gun to my head, Riley Green will be the best of those three. I guarantee it. But with Jeimer Candelario, if you don't re-sign him and you keep waiting for the young kids because of the cost controllability part of it and the fact that you got him for all these years under team control really cheap, that's great. But then you have to hope they actually live up to expectation. Torkelson could be bad. Ryan Kreidler could be bad. So what do you do as Al Avila? Do you take these pieces that are unproven commodities but have value, or some of these guys that have shown a little bit of value, flip them for like more depth, proven depth, I should say, major league ready talent? Because you need to start winning now. The Tigers need to be competing for a wild card spot as quick as next year. Because if you had this high of a winning percentage, the 5th best winning percentage in the major leagues since the All-Star break, you got to that means you take out that horrible start, they could have been a playoff team this year. Obviously they weren't because they started 9-22 or whatever it was. But you got to start winning next year. Because you already that's a year and a half, almost 2 years of Manning and Skubal already gone. That means you only got 4 years left of them after this year. Then you're going to start the clock on those other guys. So it might honestly be a good idea, as much as I want to see all these guys, because This is the first Tigers team since like the late 70s, early 80s, where you got all this good homegrown talent. You want to see all these guys come up at the same time and win as a young unit, like the Royals did and like the Cubs did, where they were such bad franchises, and the Twins tried to do but failed miserably at with Sano and Buxton and all those guys. But neither here nor there, like the Royals did and the Cubs did, and like even like the Giants, what they did with some of their guys. You want to see all these guys. You want to see that a team of Torkelson, Green, Ryan Kreidler, out there with Jamer Candelario and Eric Haas and Akil Baddoo. You want to see all these guys out there, dudes that they took from other teams that no one took a chance on, and then guys that they drafted and come up and all pitch together and hit and win a title, because that's what it is. I mean, that's doing it in such an authentic fashion, but at the same time, these guys are going to cost a lot of money, and these guys are only under team control for so long, and you need to win now. So, I don't know. Over the next couple weeks, it's going to be great to watch. I'm going to be sad when the season's gone, but this is a crucial, extremely pivotal offseason, and I'm going to have to make another video about this, so this one isn't an hour long in the offseason outlook thing, because that's going to be a long video, and there's a lot of situations like I just barely touched on here, because they might have to let Candelario go if they want to go with the young thing, because they just don't have they don't have spots open for all the depth. But at the same time, they're starting the clocks, and they need to win now, and they need to be good now, and they need proven major league talent. So they might have to start trading away some of this to start building around actual major league proven talent that they could win with right away, instead of just keep bringing these guys up through the system and then letting them develop, and hopefully they're good, productive major leaguers. I don't know. But it's going to be a fun offseason, and that's going to be my out-season off-look video. So that's a little bit of a preview for you guys. You get to listen to me rant for at least 50 minutes, because I could have kept going on. So the Tigers, let's see who they come up with next as I end this video. Get this stupid thing. So they go off to Milwaukee, who just no-hit the Indians. The Indians, congratulations. You're the first team in Major League history to ever be no-hit 3 times. So they go off to Milwaukee for 2, and they're really good. And then they play Tampa Bay for 4 in Tampa, and then start a 3-game, the last series with, or second from last series with White Sox. So I'll be back next week, talk about the week that was, and anything else that happened. So I got for you guys. Have a good one.